leg stump, and Luke Wright doesn't miss out on those, and he just flicked the ball past the fine leg, who was up inside the 30-yard circle. The ball raced away, even though the outfield looks very lush and very green, and that was 4 runs. Listeners coming in a couple of moments' time on listeners on BBC Sussex and BBC Surrey. There is some quite heavy cloud, I have to say, to the west of the ground, which we hope carries on its way, because it looks pretty angry. But there is a breeze, so hopefully if we do get any rain, those clouds will be carried away very quickly. At the moment, the whole ground is bathed in sunshine. As in comes Dunn, running in over the wicket bowls, and Luke Wright looking to steer that one on the leg side. Is hit on the pads. The ball ricochets into the offside. Is that Gareth Batty in there?
He's just been so keen to have a game of cricket.
He's really enjoying himself, isn't he? He's running around like an 18-year-old.
He's basically done a lap of the ground.
Yes, hello James. T20 cricket view this afternoon from a gloriously sunny Hove, though they would say there's lots of heavy cloud around. We have started here on time. Surrey winning the toss and asking Sussex to bat first, and Sussex off to a bit of a flyer, and another boundary there from Luke Wright. He goes to 13, and Sussex are 16 without loss in the second over of this game at Hove. Hasn't quite got his radar right here.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed with that. Fine leg on the edge of the circle. Matthew Dunn has twice now just drifted onto those pads of Luke Wright. And Luke Wright, all he has to do is lay bat on that. So without really doing anything, he's picked up 8 runs, Luke Wright, in this over.
Dunn back to his mark. Comes running in again over the wicket bowls, and Luke Wright is hit this time around about the thigh pad. The ball ricochets away to backward point, fielded there. Was that Rory Burns fielding there?
It is indeed. Yes, he's back from the bubble. It's Rory Burns. I think he's had a shave. His hair's still very long, but I think the goatee may have gone for T20.
We did ask earlier this week as whether Jofra Archer would be playing in this game for Sussex. Some of the England players who you'd think would be involved in the Australian series have been playing, like Joe Root was due to play for Yorkshire last night. In comes Dunn and bowls, so that's a good delivery. And Luke Wright jerks his head out of a ball that was rising outside of off stump. It goes through to keeper focus. It is the end of the second over of the Sussex innings, who have been asked to bat, are 16 without loss. Luke Wright is on 13. He's faced all but one delivery of this innings so far, and Phil Salt is on a single.
It's interesting because Sam Curran is sort of not in the squad, because they're keeping him available for if he is in that one-day squad that hasn't been named yet for the Australia series. Into the attack from the Cromwell Road end. So it's Gus Atkinson down there in the distance. All the normal features here at Hove, the big block of flats, and then sweeping round to the flats to our right as well, as Adrian was saying, a flag there with Sussex by the sea. Phil Salt on mid-off. And that is another single for Phil Salt. He moves on to 2. Sussex moving on to 17 without loss, having been stuck in by Surrey. And very interesting how this is all going to go. T20 without a crowd is interesting, because we're used to the razzmatazz. It is a little quiet, I have to say. In fact, you notice it a bit more in the T20 than you obviously would in the Bob Willis Trophy, as Luke Wright comes on to strike for the first time. Here to Gus Atkinson. 17 without loss. In the third, as Atkinson, right arm over the wicket, comes in towards us. That's driven by Luke Wright, and it's half stopped. Good half stop that from Mark Stoneman at extra cover, diving to his right, got fingertips to it, took some of the pace off it, and Luke Wright will pick up a single. He moves on to 14, and Sussex moving on to 18 without loss now, as back on to strike comes Phil Salt. At the moment, as forward goes Salt and pushes this one from Gus Atkinson straight down the ground for another single. And that'll be one more to Salt. He moves on to 3, 19 without loss. Kevin Howells from BBC Radio 5 Live is as Atkinson into right. Oh, that nips back at Luke Wright. Good bowling from Gus Atkinson. Good first over this from Gus Atkinson, hitting right there on the thigh guard. It rolls into Gareth Batty. It's short mid-wicket and there's no run. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to get lucky with the weather, because there are some very, very, very dark clouds above us now. And even though the sun's shining, you wonder whether it's the calm before the storm, as Atkinson is in and Wright picks him up and slots him one bounce down to the long on boundary rope for 4. Length delivery from Gus Atkinson, and Luke Wright, who, as I say, would have been champing at the bit to have a game of cricket, moves on to 18, and Sussex move on to 23 without loss. But just a length delivery there from Gus Atkinson, and Luke Wright stood on that front foot, just threw the bottom hand into it and slung it away down to the long on boundary. Matthew Dunn comes up to do the fielding, signalled by Billy Taylor. 3 overs gone here on BBC Sussex, BBC Surrey and BBC London. 24 without loss. Sussex, having been stuck in by Surrey. Be interesting to see how Gareth Batty uses his bowlers. James Taylor's the other quick in there. To settle. The 2 back are a deep mid-wicket in front of the scoreboard, away to our right, and then the sweeper on the cover boundary rope as Matthew Dunn comes in over the wicket to Luke Wright, and Luke Wright swing and a miss. He has gone to put that over towards the block of flats to our right at mid-wicket. Luke Wright, he almost took himself off his feet there. Luke Wright, head went up, and it ended up in the gloves of Ben Folkes, moving away to his right hand side. Got a slip in there as well. Borthwick's in there at slip. Dunn from the sea end over the wicket, he comes to Luke Wright, and Wright slams this one straight down the ground. Will get a single, hasn't really timed it, as round comes Will Jacks from mid-on. 1 more to the total, 1 more to Luke Wright. He moves on to 19, 25 without loss. Will Jacks comes jogging down towards us and will position himself down there at long on. Right below the commentary box is Will Jacks. Phil Salt on to strike for the first time here to Matthew Dunn, wearing number 4. He's done as over the wicket he comes to Salt, and Salt slams this one in the air. This will be Will Jacks taking the catch, and that'll be the end of Phil Salt. So Phil Salt, oh hang on, Phil Salt spotted. They've got 3 outside the circle. That's a good spot from Phil Salt. Oh, this will be a no ball. 3 outside the circle. Oh dear, that will not please the Surrey coaching staff at all. And it was Phil Salt who spotted it. As he hit it, he ran past saying they've got 3 outside the circle because Rory Burns was still out at cover. So Luke Wright comes back on to strike, and this will be a free hit now, signalled by umpire Gould. Oh dear, that will not please the Surrey coaching staff. Had 3 outside the circle, Surrey. 1 of them being Will Jacks, who took the catch, but Salt immediately stuck 3 fingers up at umpire Gould. So Salt spotted it. So there we go. It's all happening. So Salt not out, free hit, 3 outside the circle. 1 man too many. And they've now got 2 outside the circle as in comes Dunn then to Luke Wright, and Wright tucks him away out towards deep backward square. Up comes Gus Atkinson. Wright comes tearing back for 2. Great running from Luke Wright. Sprinted the first, comes tearing back for the second. That'll be 2 more to Luke Wright, 2 more to the total. Adrian Harms is back. How are you getting on, Mr. Harms?
Well, they can't hear us on the club stream. We're going out on the radio, but I don't understand why we're not going out on the club stream. So you keep chattering away.
I will keep chuntering. 30 without loss. Right on 21. As Matthew Dunn once more is coming in over the wicket to Luke Wright, who's cutting that for 4. It's just up and over the top of backward point. Those hands of Luke Wright. I tell you what, he's going to be dangerous here. This is a man who has been desperate to have a hit, and he's out there now, and he's already on 25 off 19 balls. 34 without loss in the 4th over. It's still dry here somehow. I've no idea how it isn't raining, but it is still dry somehow. Everything would point to the fact that it should be hosing down. As Dunn is in to Wright, and Wright, oh, that's a good comeback ball, nips back at Luke Wright, beats the inside edge of the bat, and well taken by a tumbling Ben Folkes away to his left. Anybody who's slightly confused why Phil Salt wasn't out there, you're only allowed the 2 outside the fielding circle for the first 6. And Will Jacks was 1 of 3. And Phil Salt spotted it as the ball went up in the air. 34 without loss. As Dunny's in now to right, and right picks him up, whips him leg side, square of the wicket. There's Gus Atkinson to do the fielding, and the throw comes in. One bounce, straight over the top of the stumps. 4 overs gone then. And Sussex, they'll be happy with this start. 35 without loss. Looking forward to watching Ravi Bopara, of course. Dalray Rawlings, who's a lovely player to watch. Of course, Ravi has been waiting and waiting and waiting to get a game of cricket, and makes his Sussex debut today. So that's exciting. Lovely to be here for that. Of course, won the T20 last year. Was key in that final. Ravi Bopara, to get Team Essex over the line against Worcestershire. Of course, beat Sussex in the quarter-final here with a Moeen Ali 100.
He did, yeah, and batted beautifully. So look at the colour of that sky, Churchy.
Dark. It's Gus Atkinson. Oh, that's violent from Luke Wright. Start of the 5th over, and Luke Wright's jumped outside the leg stump and then just flat batted that straight past Mark Stoneman at extra cover. I'm not even sure Stoneman saw that, but Luke Wright has just jumped out of inside his leg stump and then flat batted that. Absolutely smashed it for 4. This is dangerous. Wright's got to start. 30 off 22 balls. Luke Wright, as Gus Atkinson, over the wicket he comes to Luke Wright, and Wright backs away, just opens the face, guides this one down to James Taylor on the edge of the circle at third man. They'll take a single, and that'll take Wright on to 31 and move Sussex on to 40 without loss in the 5th.
I wouldn't have thought that Alex Stewart have been desperately happy about that.
Because of which players are playing, but yeah, to have 3 outside the circle and take a wicket is not ideal. As in comes Gus Atkinson, and it's a slower ball. That's nicely bowled.
It was.
And Phil Salt waits for it, turns it into the leg side, and they'll pick up a single. And that'll be 1 more to Salt. He moves on to 5. 41 without loss. Alex Stewart wandering down in front of us, hands behind his back, watching away, because of course, well, he could do that if there was a crowd in, but it's a much more peaceful walk around the ground for Alex Stewart with no crowd in, as Atkinson is over the wicket to Luke Wright, and Wright looking to tug this one down the leg side. He got a bit of thigh guard on it, but it's a good stop from Ben Folkes, tumbling away to his left. Of course, bit of news this morning was the fact that for the Surrey game at the Kia Oval starting on Thursday, it's 2020. There are going to be 2,500 members in, which is great news. As Atkinson is in, oh, he's bowled Luke Wright off the inside edge, looking to pull. Knocked his middle stump out the ground, spectacular. And banged in by Gus Atkinson. Good bit of bowling that from Gus Atkinson to Luke Wright. And Luke Wright was looking to pull that one over mid-wicket, bottom edge, straight back onto his stumps. And Luke Wright goes, bowled by Gus Atkinson for 31. And Surrey have their breakthrough, and Gus Atkinson has a first wicket in T20 cricket, and it's a good one, because it is Luke Wright who was looking extremely dangerous, but banged in by Gus Atkinson. And as I say, Luke Wright was looking to stick that over the pavilion, bottom edge, straight back, cannon straight back onto his middle stump. And Luke Wright, the captain, gone for 31. 41 for 1, Sussex in the 5th over. Harry Finch is making his way out to the middle to join Phil Salt, but that's a good one for Gus Atkinson to stick in his back pocket. You got Alistair Cook in the Bob Willis Trophy.
Big scalps.
Now got Luke Wright as his first wicket in T20. So, not that Alistair Cook was his first wicket, that was Nick Brown, but he did pick up Alistair Cook in the second inning. So, yep. Nice ones to have in your back pocket if you're Gus Atkinson. And that would just help with the fact that Phil Salt was out, but was caught by one of 3 men outside the fielding circle in the last over, so it was a no ball. 41 for 1, the cut-off point, 3:15. Shining brightly on the scoreboard away to our right-hand side. Sound of a seagull, the seagulls will echo around the ground today. So sound of a seagull. Finch is getting ready for his first delivery here, as over the wicket comes Atkinson to him, but again gets that one just to bounce on Finch, who plays that in to the leg side and then ends up shaking his bottom hand a touch. I think it just got onto him probably a little bit quicker than he was expecting. And James Taylor runs down towards us here at the CN, throws his cap beyond the boundary rope because James Taylor is going to bowl his first delivery for Surrey. In T20 cricket, 5 overs gone, so 1 left of the power play, and it's 41 for 1 now. Sussex with that wicket of Luke Wright. So James Taylor bowled nicely in the Bob Willis Trophy, signed from Derbyshire in the closed season, and Will Jacks making his way down to the long on boundary rope down below us once again. And James Taylor getting ready to bowl his first delivery in T20 cricket from the sea end, coming in over the wicket to Phil Salt, who drives. That's a lovely shot, lovely placement from Phil Salt. Beats the man at backward point, and the man at cover just guides that into the gap, and Rory Burns goes back to retrieve the ball. And Phil Salt's first boundary, that was very nicely played by Phil Salt. He moves on to 9. Sussex moving on to 45 for 1. Plenty of batting in this Sussex lineup as James Taylor is into Salt, and Salt swings him leg side. This will be 6. That's all Phil Salt, that. Length delivery from James Taylor, and Phil Salt has just swung it over the leg side all the way for 6, our first maximum. And Salt moves on to 15, and the 50 comes up as well for Sussex. 51 for 1. Gareth Batty's just run across, just have a quiet word with James Taylor, who's gone 4-6. Just settle the young man down there. Gareth Batty. Still the deep backward square out there, and the long on as the 2 men. Oh, this will be 6 more. That's even further. That could be out the ground. That is out the ground. We'll have a bit of a delay here, and there are a few spectators on the balconies on the flats away to our right, and that one was heading towards them. So Salt's gone 4-6-6. He's suddenly on to 21. Sussex are 57 for 1. And Ian Gould's waiting for another ball because that one has disappeared. And now it's out the ground. I suppose it'll have to have its temperature taken to get back in again.
Very good. Yeah, it's they were big hits, weren't they? And he's been in good form, Phil Salt, in the Bob Willis Trophy. He's made some good scores, and he's looked in good nick. But he'd been waiting for this, and I know he was very, very frustrated, Churchy, not to be included in the England squad for these T20s that are taking place against Pakistan. I think he felt he had a real opportunity. He made 100 in a warm-up match against Ireland, got left out, and was sent away to make some runs.
Ball's back.
Yeah,
so it's been sanitised, I think, and then umpire Gould hasn't picked it up. He's just kicked it straight to James Taylor. So 57 for 1, as Salt waits again. On 21, as in over the wicket goes Taylor. Oh, short one. This could be 6 more. It's 1 bounce for 4. So it was banged in by Taylor. He's just trying to settle down here, is James Taylor. And Phil Salt's just 1 for 1. Tough this for James Taylor. First over in T20 cricket. Scott Borthwick's gone to retrieve the ball. Borthwick will just have some calming words here for James Taylor if he can find them. That's 4-6-6-4 now. Taylor comes in over the wicket once again to Salt, and Salt swings him leg side for 4 more. Just waited on that front foot and swung it straight over Gareth Batty at square leg. And this is a tough one for the young man. Phil Salt is so destructive in this form of the game. And he's on to 29 now. 65 for 1. And all James Taylor will want is a dot ball here, or something that isn't a 4 or a 6. But all of a sudden that score has rocketed to 65 for 1. Shouts of encouragement for Taylor, but tough, because as I say, Phil Salt in this form of the game is one of the most destructive batsmen possibly in the world. As in over the wicket again comes Taylor, and that's better. Just on the pads, but Salt has found the gap, tucks it into the leg side, and it'll run away for 4 more. Taylor can't believe it. That's a huge over for Sussex. You've got to feel for James Taylor. As I say, Phil Salt can do that to you, but he's taken 28 off James Taylor's over, and it's 69 for 1 after 6, and now it is a very, very good batting power play for Sussex. Salt has 33, and Finch yet to get off the mark, Adrian Harms.
Yeah, you're listening to live cricket on BBC London, BBC Surrey, and BBC Radio Sussex live from home. I mean, I'm amazed we're still playing cricket, because if you were to look to the north end of the ground, there's some really horrible, angry black clouds. But I think they've gone, Churchy, and Sussex are making hay in the sunshine. Phil Salt 33 off 11 deliveries. Now, who's this coming on to bowl?
And Moriarty, who bowled the first over, now coming on to bowl the 7th over, so spin.
We'll be joined by Kevin Howells in a few moments' time from 5 Live Sports Extra, but it's going to be Finch who's going to wait for Moriarty, who's left arm around the wicket with 3 or 4 paces, comes in and bowls, and Finch glides that one to the sweeper on the cover boundary, picks up a single as Harry Finch, and that's all Finch needs to do here. He needs to pick the single and leave it to Phil Salt to do the rest. I've seen Phil Salt a lot over the last 2 or 3 years, and what will be interesting now is how he plays this. Does he still go hell for leather, or does he think, actually, there's a big score for me here, but I just need to be a little sensible, as he waits for Moriarty, who comes in off 3 or 4 paces and bowls, and Salt is beaten outside the off stump, and that wasn't a great shot. Ben Folkes whips off the bails, but it's a dot ball.
I think that's your answer. Anybody who now said to Phil Salt, after just taking 28 off 1 over, just calm down, I think it would go in 1.
Moriarty, 74 for 1. It is the end of the over. Finch is on 4 of 5 deliveries, and Sussex are 74 for 1 off of 7 overs. The man out, Luke Wright, for 31.
Yeah, and a good over from Dan Moriarty, especially off the back of an over that had gone for 28. To only go for the 5 off that, I do like Dan Moriarty as a cricketer. Made his Bob Willis Trophy debut against Middlesex, took a 5 in the second innings, and here I think he could be a canny operator in T20 cricket. The pace he bowls it, I think he could be quite a canny operator in T20 cricket. So it's going to be Gareth Batty into the attack for the 8th over. Of course, now Surrey can get fielders outside the circle. So they have got a sweeper on the cover rope, the long off, the long on, 2 men back on the leg side ropes. You get your 5 out now. Gareth Batty is coming in over the wicket to Finch, and Finch, oh, shout for LBW, huge shout for LBW from Gareth Batty back to Ian Gould. I'd have loved to have heard the response there from Ian Gould to that appeal from Gareth Batty. Not out, 74 for 1. His first bowl this summer, Gareth Batty is in over the wicket, he comes again, and this one short, pulled in the air, 1 bounce and away for 4. Finch jumping onto the back foot to a short delivery and pulling that one behind square on the leg side. Just for a second it may have had Gus Atkinson interested, but that's whistled away for 4 runs, and Finch moves on to 8 Sussex moving on to 78 for 1 as Batty's in again. Over the wicket he comes, and this is tucked away into the leg side by Finch. That will take Finch onto 9. 79 for 1 now, Sussex. Surrey winning the toss, sticking Sussex in under dark skies here at Hove as Salt turns Gareth Batty away out towards deep backward square. Gus Atkinson, one of 2 men out there. Gus Atkinson at deep backward square. Scott Borthwick is out at deep mid wicket. 80 for 1 as Harry Finch comes back on to strike. Batty bounces into Finch, and Finch turns again into the leg side. Takes another single out there to Scott Borthwick. And gets a throw in straight over the top of the stumps to Ben Folkes, and that'll be 1 more to the total. Finch moves on to 10. 81 for 1 now. Sussex's Batty to Will Jackson. End of a Gareth Batty over. His first one in the competition this summer. 8 gone. And 8 off the over. Sussex 82 for 1, and when you take 28 off 1 over, it sort of buys you a couple of overs.
Yeah, absolutely. And interesting to see Phil Salt batting in that over, because he is changing as a cricketer. I mean, he is an attacking cricketer, and I'm sure that Sussex don't want to take that out of Phil Salt, because that's what he is, and he can get innings off to a great start, not just in this form of the game, but also the longer form as well. But he doesn't need to hit every ball for 6.
Being in the bubble, how much that will rub off when?
Well, here comes Moriarty around the wicket, bowls to Salt, and Salt just plays that nicely down the ground to log on and picks up a single. He goes to 37. Sussex to 83 for 1. I was telling Phil Salt I was at a party just before lockdown in the pavilion at Guildford. And on the staircase there, looking out at me, was a picture of Phil Salt.
Absolutely.
During his time, he spent a little bit of time playing at Guildford Cricket Club. As in comes Moriarty, bowls, and Finch swings that one away, but I think he's going to be caught by Rory Burns. Yeah. But it was pulled away by Finch. He looked at the bottom of his bat. He'll be disappointed.
And as I say, I think Dan Moriarty could be a very canny bowler for Surrey in T20 cricket. And again, that was a nice bit of bowling. He's going to the shortest side of the ground there. You can see what the batsman's thinking. But of course, left arm round the wicket, he's having to fetch it from outside his off stump, and he's really just toe-ended that. Good catch from Rory Burns. Just had to watch where his feet were. But yeah, Finch perishes for 10. And here comes a young man who, well, everything about him is nice to watch. Delray Rawlings hasn't probably scored the weight of runs his talent says he should be yet, but he's only 22. He's another one. He's a young man, but God, he's got some talent, this boy.
Well, he has, and never saw that more so than at Radlett this week, where he came in, he played a couple of innings, but he gets a lot of 30s and 40s Dowrays, and he plays like a dream, and then he'll play an indifferent shot. And I was saying on commentary earlier on this week that you just feel he's got everything, but he's a little bit like Phil, he just needs to know when to rein himself in. But this is an ideal platform for Delray Rawlings, left-hander, from the lovely island of Bermuda. Not that I've ever been there, but it's you see the pictures, it's lovely. And he's now facing Moriarty, who comes in around the wicket to bowl to Rawlings. 4 men inside the circle. There are 2 men out, 3 men out on the leg side. He particularly likes that area down towards long on, as in comes Moriarty and bowls, and Rawlings is carefully forward and flicks that into the onside and picks up a single. Is Rawlings, so he's on his way.
And being in the bubble with England players, and one name I'll give you is Jason Roy. He's had to learn the way to play. When Jason started, he was bashing every ball out the park.
Yeah.
But these days, he's learned his game of how to play one-day international cricket. So you might find that in this T20 comp, you might find that with Phil Salt. He's got a start here, 37 off 16, including 28 off 6 balls.
Moriarty is on his way, left arm around the wicket, bowls to Salt. He places carefully to mid-wicket for the Batty, and there is no run. The cloud, I'm sad to say, is filling a little bit from the southwest where most of the weather is coming from, so we step down the ground.
Phil Salt.
38 off 19 deliveries. Harry
Mr. Harms. So Kevin Howells, who I met today at one of the great service stations in the British Isles. Pease Pottage Services, we got together for a little catch-up before coming here. It's going to be Gareth Batty to bowl the 10th over from the C end, and this is Salt looking to pull, just skipped onto him a touch quicker than he was expecting. He toe-ended it out into the offside, and they will pick up a single. That'll be one more to the total. 86 for 2 here on BBC Sussex, BBC Surrey and BBC London. This opening Vitality T20 blast game for both these sides, Surrey and Sussex. And Scott Borthwick making his way down below us with his very natty Surrey cap on as the left-handed Rawlings waits for Batty and punches off the back foot. Lovely looking shot from Rawlings. Will look for 2. Atkinson's quick, has to get his skates on with the dive is Salt, but he's back for 2 because Atkinson got round very, very quickly. Good afternoon, Kevin Howells.
I think you laughed at me for saying yesterday that the players would create their own intensity and drama, but it sounds like it out there.
They are, as this one's pulled by Rawlings out towards deep mid-wicket, and they will pick up a single. The bit that you also said, which I enjoyed, was, and we'll bring it to you, which is exactly what we're hopefully doing today. And we've had drama, Kevin Howells. Boy, have we had some drama. Out off a no ball with 3 men outside the circle. Salt 28 off and over. As this one, Salt just tucks straight down the ground to Will Jacks. He'll pick up a single. Luke Wright, quick fire 31, then Gus Atkinson bowling him. First wicket in T20, first wicket for Dan Moriarty. The returning Rory Burns without his goatee. 90 for 2. I think he's taken it off. As round the wicket comes Gareth Batty to Rawlings, who's forward, turns this one into the leg side. And pick up one more. Rawlings moves on to 5, 91 for 2. Maybe he only has it for test matches, the goatee. Rory Burns. He's kept the hair, still got the long hair, but he's removed the goatee. 91 for 2. In over the wicket once more comes Batty. This is slung in the air, straight to deep, backward square, and Salt has gone. That's a big wicket for Surrey, and it's Gareth Batty, Gus Atkinson with the catch, down on one knee, slog sweeping, slung it leg-sided Salt, and Gus Atkinson, well-judged catch. And this is a big wicket for Surrey because Phil Salt was looking dangerous, but he'll feel he sort of cut himself off in his prime there. He can do that, Phil Salt. Gareth Batty has his first wicket of the competition this summer, and Salt goes for 40. And Kevin Howells, Sussex, losing wickets at 91.
That I get to call him.
So anyway, you make sure you take them. That, for example, had to make sure he got to the right position. The simplest comfortable catch when he got there, but you've got to get in the right position to take the catches even. Well, Will Jacks, he took the catch. Was he the one that should have been out? No, he probably was okay. But one of the 3, so